Rite of passage from childhood to adulthood. Introduction. A rite of passage is a traditional ceremony or event that marks the transition from one phase of life to another, such as from childhood to adulthood. The rite of passage from childhood to adulthood is found in many cultures worldwide and can take many forms. Some examples of rites of passage that mark the transition from childhood to adulthood include coming-of-age ceremonies. Many cultures have ceremonies or rituals celebrating the transition from childhood to adulthood. These can include things like a religious ceremony, a formal dance, or a community gathering. Initiation rituals. In some cultures, young people must undergo a specific ritual or series of practices to be considered an adult. These can include things like a physical test, a spiritual quest, or a rite of passage involving tattooing or scarification. Military service. In some countries, young men and women are expected to serve in the military as a rite of passage into adulthood. Marriage. In many cultures, getting married is seen as a rite of passage into adulthood. Graduating from school. In many cultures, completing high school or university is seen as a rite of passage into adulthood. There are lots of examples of various rites within every society. While the importance of these rites of passage seems undeniable, thanks to their widespread prevalence throughout the world's cultures and history, it has been argued that they are no longer necessary in today's modern society. From children to adults. With time, children approach important changes in their life, such as the onset of puberty. They reach a particular stage at which it is considered customary for young people to get married and start their families. In this situation, it is often difficult for young people to make the transition in their heads from thinking of themselves as the children of society to thinking of themselves as responsible adults. At the same time, it is difficult for parents and older relatives to begin thinking of the children as fully autonomous adults as well. The rite of passage symbolizes to both children and adults that the individual has reached an important turning point in their life that must be recognized by both parties if the individual is to become capable of taking on their new responsibilities. As has been mentioned, often the challenge of the rite can equally serve as a means of instilling confidence and assurance in the individual, forcing them to realize that they have no one left to rely on other than themselves and that they are capable of handling these challenges on their own. While they may have help as adults, it is an important element of growing up that one becomes more self-reliant. When they accomplish the task, they are able to stand tall and with pride, knowing that they can actually do it. Adulthood in modern society. Laws instead of rites. It has been argued that rites of passage are no longer necessary in today's modern society. The law has established specific ages as the turning points of life, indicating that at age 18, individuals are ready to make their own decisions and can be considered to be adults. However, they are not adults enough yet to make the decision to drink alcoholic beverages, making this a sort of pseudo-adulthood in that they are adults, but not adults for another few years. At age 21, individuals are finally permitted to drink alcoholic beverages and are thus finally considered to be fully grown. Based on these arbitrary ages, society has indicated that these individuals are adults. Therefore, rites of passage are not necessary to help them transition from one role in society to another. Rite of passage, psychological benefits. However, the psychological benefits of rites of passage go much deeper than the simple legal recognition of their majority. Before being given the opportunity to pass through the rite in societies employing these celebrations, the individual must demonstrate that they are indeed ready to undertake the challenge, which is done on the part of the individual child through their accomplishments and interactions with others, as well as determined by the assessment of the adults as they witness these accomplishments and interactions. If the child is 12 and capable and willing to take on an adult's responsibilities, he might be given the opportunity to engage in the rite even though it is more commonly given to older children. By the same token, a child may prove unwilling or unable to fully reach a certain state of maturity by the time they've reached the usual age and be prevented from undertaking the rite until they have had a chance to reach greater maturity.